Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more waterfowl patterning, and today we've got another new load combo to try out that I've seen a ton of you guys requesting here as of recently, so I had to go pick some of these up so we could try them out and see what they could do, and we're definitely going to put them to the test today and see what they're actually capable of through some stock chokes. But as for the load we've got, I brought out some of the Winchester Drylok Super Steel loads, but these ones are a 20 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 3/4 ounce payload of steel 4s, moving about 14-25 feet per second. We've tried Winchester steel loads before with some good results, but we've never tried any 20 gauge steel waterfowl loads or any of the Winchester Drylok lineup. And with these being a number 4, they definitely should give us a pretty interesting looking pattern considering they're 20 gauge. Gives us a few more pellets to work with over something like a 2 or any of those other larger pellet sizes. So definitely a pretty interesting loading today, but how's it going to perform through today's setup combo? But as for that setup, I brought out the Stevens 301 20 gauge. It's got a 26-inch barrel on it, and it is only a single shot, so maybe not some people's first choice for waterfowl hunting type of purposes, but it should give us a consistent test to work with here. Now as for the choke, since we've never tested these before and it's a new 20 gauge load to me and stuff like that, we're going to add a few more little things to our test today. I've got 3 chokes. We're going to start with an improved cylinder, then we'll move to a modified and then a full. So we'll take 3 shots through those 3 chokes. All of them will be at 40 yards, so we can get an idea of what they're actually capable of through several different stock flush choke constrictions. And here is all 3 of your actual choke constrictions for my particular chokes today, so you guys can see what they actually measure out at. So between all 3 of those chokes, we should be able to get an idea of what they're actually capable of. But as for today's test, like I just mentioned, all 3 of those shots will be at 40 yards, and they will be through the chronograph as well, so we can get our velocity. I've never tested a steel load through this 301, so I'm definitely curious to see how it actually patterns with a waterfowl oriented shell like that. So let's get you guys a view of these targets. We'll take our 3 shots and then we'll check everything out and see how they actually patterned. Alright, so let's take a quick peek at our chrono numbers before we go check out our targets. Boss claim was 1425, however we did not see that from that 26-inch barrel on that 301. So we had 1297, 1310, and 1276 for an average of 1294. So what is that, 131 feet per second under their claim? Probably means they tested it through something like a 28 or a 30-inch barrel, but still, for your average duck hunting scenario inside of 40 yards, right at 1300 feet per second with a steel 4 is still plenty enough to do the job. But let's go check out our targets and see what kind of a pattern they gave us. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard papers, and we'll start off over here with our improved cylinder pattern. And yeah, we absolutely do have a dead duck there. There are a couple right through the center of his body, and there's nowhere left or right he can move to and get away from you through that pattern. So yes, an improved cylinder with these Drylok 4s is definitely capable out to 40 yards. Now this is definitely a little bit more of a broad pattern. As you can see right here in front of that duck, we kind of have a little bit larger of a void area where it's possible that he could have flown into that, but the rest of the pattern looks relatively even for the most part. It's just a lot more broad than a couple of the other patterns we're going to take a look at here in a second. If you're hunting at 25-30 yards over decoys or something, that is absolutely capable, and if you need to stretch it out to 40, you can do that as well and most likely be perfectly fine. So not a terrible starting point. It's absolutely good enough, but I think we got a little better with a little more choke. So now we'll move over here to our modified choke, and this shot is the same distance, 40 yards, and once again, absolutely have a dead duck, but we did pick up a number more pellets right through the body there, because I do think our pattern is tighter overall. We kind of got rid of some of these larger void areas. There might still be one right in front of that duck's head there, kind of across the top of that left wing, but it's nothing too major necessarily. If we back up and look at the entire pattern, you can definitely tell that we've condensed our spread down. It's a pretty nice and even spread of them as well. We really don't have too many major flyers. There might be one up here at the very top above the mod mark I wrote, but other than that, there's really not much. It's just kind of, once again, a little bit of a broad spread, but it's more condensed down. You've got more pellets through that central 10-inch circle ring than we did with the improved cylinder, and I just think it's a little bit better of a pattern overall, at least for those little bit longer ranges. That is still going to give you plenty of room to work with at closer range, but I would feel a little bit more confident pushing that to 40 yards than I would the improved cylinder. Really, that's a solid pattern all day long. For a steel waterfowl shell, I like what I see there. I would not hesitate to use that at all. Now we'll move over to our full choke. And right off the bat, before I say anything else, a lot of people say, don't run steel stuff through a full choke. Keep it modified and under. Yes, you can run steel through a full choke if the choke is rated for it, which almost all modern day full chokes are. It doesn't automatically mean you will see a better or a tighter pattern if you do it, especially with the larger steel pellets. They can blow the pattern out just a little bit, but that doesn't mean you can't at least try it and see what it's capable of. And in this case, we see another very nice pattern. It is very similar standing side by side here to what the modified choke gave us. We may have picked up a couple of pellets that are actually on the blue duck target here, but really it's pretty much the same, to be honest with you. There's no major voids or anything through that pattern. It's a nice even spread, absolutely 40-yard capable. The central, say 15 to 18 inches might have a few more pellets in that general area than what the mod choke gave us, but around the edges, I think we did kind of spread the very edges of our pattern out just a touch with this full choke. You can see a little bit of splotchy stuff, or not even really what I would call splotchy stuff. Just a few more little scattered bits all around the very outskirt edges. Still nothing detrimental to the pattern at all. I would not hesitate to use that out there to 40 yards all day long. So even down to a full choke, these Drylok 4s seem to be a very nice patterning shell. And I will go ahead and pop up pictures of all three of these side by side so you guys can see how they actually look right next to each other. We definitely constricted it down from improved cylinder to modified, and from modified to full, we might have picked up a couple more pellets on the duck target, but we scattered a few more little bits and pieces around the edges maybe. Either way, very similar between modified and full, and I would take either one of them all day long. Really, none of those are bad patterns. They are all plenty capable of a 40-yard and in duck hunt scenario. So overall, I don't really think you can go wrong. These Drylok 20 gauge 4s seem to be a pretty good shell so far, but I would probably stick to maybe something like a modified choke if I was going to hunt with these. Just personal preference, although none of these are bad patterns. And here are the three wads from those shells. Starting from left to right, it's improved cylinder, modified, and then full over here on the right. They all look pretty similar. You can see a little bit more scuffing on the outside of the full choke and the modified choke over the improved cylinder, but nothing major there. They all acted pretty well the same. But from what I'm seeing, our improved cylinder has one pellet stuck down in there. Our modified has 5 pellets down in there, but our full choke doesn't have anything. So maybe it's just a little bit of luck of the draw with these. I don't know, but I would definitely prefer to see those pellets actually on the paper more than anything else. But the wads in general look pretty much perfectly fine through whatever choke we ran them through. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance right there? Gotta say, first time running a steel 20 gauge waterfowl shell through that 301, I'm liking the results that I'm seeing here. And it seems like those Winchester Drylok 4s are some pretty good patterning shells, kind of regardless of what choke we put them through. That 301 uses wind choke threads or standard invector, so they are very short chokes, so all of your constriction happens kind of right at the end of the barrel. So sometimes that can do weird things, but it really didn't seem to affect these Drylok shells too much. I wouldn't hesitate to hunt with any of these patterns here, but really, you can't go wrong with a modified choke right there. I mean, that's just gonna hammer ducks all day long out to 40 yards. Even a full choke, if your gun's got a full choke in it, just run it. It seems to be just fine with these. As long as it's rated for steel, I wouldn't be concerned about it at all. And all three of these patterns are very nice performers, and at least it seems like those Dryloks are not too particular about what choke they like either. They seem to do well through just about anything you've got. So I really like what I'm seeing so far from them. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Winchester Drylok shells in 12 or 20 or anything like that? And if so, what kind of performances have you seen from them? Is this a pattern or a combination you would ever actually waterfowl hunt with? And if so, which choke do you prefer here? The little bit more open choke down there at Improved Cylinder, a little more spread, or maybe a mod or a full choke here? And what other waterfowl oriented shells do you want to see us run through that 20 gauge? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.